How you doing today? Bo's been on my backside about teaching you guys or showing you guys some of the tricks that I use in working on guitars. So before he gets here this morning, he said he's going to show up and show me a new song he wants me to try working on. I wanted to show you, I've got a string that's kind of screwed up here. It's got some nicks and some frayed points in it where I'm always bending and wobbling it back and forth. He said, well, why don't you show them real quick how you change strings, because you do it different than most people. So that's what I'm going to do. Basically, the string is up to tune and I'm just going to drop it back off. You can hear that, I'm sure. I like to take the tension off before I cut it. Reach over here and grab little wire cutters here. For you guys that don't change your strings all the time, a lot of people cut them real close. I don't like to do that. I prefer to cut them so that I've got something to push back down. A lot of times this back ring end, especially on this style of guitar and this style of bridge, will get hung up in the ferrule that's underneath. So, little quick trick. Okay, get this string off of here real quick. Okay, when you're undoing these, make real sure that you don't put any kinks or any bends in it, because if that bend ends up in the tension part, what I mean by that is in the pull of the string, it 99.9% of the time will break there. So we want to try to straighten that out. And good, no kinks, no bends. Let's see if we can thread it through this back side here. There you go, no big deal. One of the things that I like to do, and a lot of people don't, or I've never seen other people do it, but when you're putting these strings on, there's a couple of things that are really critical. One is the number of wraps that you get around this post and how you actually wrap it. Okay, for example, you've got a tuner. They're designed so that maybe 10, 12, 14 revolutions of the key produce you one wrap here on the post. And that's all kind of, what do I want to say, geometrically figured out. If you have one string, or the tension part of the string, overlapping other strings that are wound on here, you'll have a tendency that a little bit will make it a little bit sharper, a little bit more makes it a little bit sharper, a little bit more makes it extremely sharp, or flat, or either way you're going, because it's actually building and winding on the top side of another string that's wound around the post. So it makes tuning the guitar really complicated, or very difficult. Not complicated, just real hard to do. So I like to, and I will show you when I wind this up, I like to have at least two and a half wraps on each post. So you say, well, how much material is that? The easiest way for me to do it is I go to the post that I'm going to wind on, and I get the string reasonably snug, reasonably straight lined, and then I measure to the next post. Okay, so I'm putting it on this one, G, measuring to the B point. That's where I'll put a bend in the string. If you take that and put that now, the end that you've bent, the short end, through the hole, where you at? Where you at? Okay, we'll go this way, through the hole, stay up here, and pull it just so that that 90-degree bend is touching the back side of your post. I don't know with the camera and the angle if you can actually see that or not. I then take and bend this one the opposite direction. So basically, you've put in a Z bend. You've measured the distance to the next post, And from there, if you take and keep the downward, a little bit of downward pressure on the string as you wind it, what will happen is it will build and it will start to slide up the post. As you wind it and get more tension on it, it'll start sliding up that post for you, which is fine, because that eliminates the chance of you to build one string or wind one string on the top of the other string. So always try to keep some downward pressure here as you wind it. I know this is a boring part. Yes, I've had string winders and I've used electric drills and put gizmos in them, but I have a tendency to leave it set on the unwind or the wind up stage when I'm trying to unwind a string, and end up breaking all the strings and popping the neck and making all kinds of weird things happen. So I don't like doing that. I prefer to do it by hand. Okay. Now, I don't know if you can see it, maybe from this angle. You can see that you've got two winds, two rounds, and on the very bottom is where the string comes off. So it's not riding on top of any of the windings. That will make it much smoother for you to tune the guitar, bring it into pitch, and it will also stay in tune a lot longer. You're not binding one string over another or trying to split between two strings and get to the post itself. So if you use those little tricks, it'll make keeping your guitar in tune a lot easier, and also make tuning your guitar a lot easier. So that's our quick tip for the day. Have a good one.